All right, guys, we're at the Cummins 6.7. It's been a while since we changed the oil, almost 12,000 miles of hard driving and towing. So we're gonna take an oil sample, send it off to Blackstone Labs, and get the report and see how long this oil really would last, or if we were just destroying the engine as we were going. We want to get the most out of the oil, but we also don't want to throw money away on oil changes because it is very expensive on these trucks, even if you're doing it yourself. All right, we got that liquid gold out of the engine there. So we're gonna put that bottle nice and tight and cleaned off inside this plastic bag, inside of this black bag lined with pig mat, inside of another envelope, and send it out. Once we get the results, we'll continue the video. All right, everybody, we got the oil report back from Blackstone Laboratories. We drove this truck probably about 9,000 miles, loaded heavy with anywhere between 10 to 12K on a bumper pull trailer across the country. Up mountains, down mountains, cold weather, hot weather, just all the worst conditions you could imagine, for almost 9,000 miles. Including some failures. We had an alternator failure, turbo brake failure. So, everything going wrong that probably should have destroyed this oil. And then we got back home and we continued to drive it some more, towing lighter loads, a couple thousand pounds here and there, all the way up to about 11,500 miles, as you can see right here. So the oil, the unit ID is Optimus. That's we call it Optimus Prime because this truck is just a beast. We got the report date of 3/14, which was yesterday, because today's the 15th. We sent it in it took about 3 weeks to process. So it's a 2012 Ram 3500 Cummins 6.7, 1540 is the oil. So we're gonna read you the comments. This is the first report for Optimus, and they said it's prime. Honestly, though, it's really nice wearing engine. Universal averages are at the rightmost column, and they give you a good idea of how the Cummins 6.7 tends to wear over about 8,200 miles of oil use. You ran this oil longer than that, but wear metals, mainly aluminum and copper, are still testing right around average levels, which means this engine's wearing very well for its type. There is no contamination to note, like fuel, coolant, or excess dirt. The TBN is strong. Feel free to run to 13.5 on the next oil change. So they're giving us 2,000 more on this. The big thing that we're looking for here is the fuel, coolant, and dirt. Now we're running an aftermarket air filter, an S&B. A lot of people say it's going to wear your engine down, so we are going to read some of the results down here to see. But remember, we were in a very, very, very dusty condition. So, a lot of factors there. We'll have to get a second oil analysis to compare. TBN is strong. So, we're going to scroll down now and show the rest of the report here. All right. If you see here, 11,500 miles. We got 271,137 miles. And our sample date was 2/20. So, as you can see, the report date and the sample date, a couple weeks in between. We're gonna scroll down here, and we kind of highlighted everything to show you guys what we're working with here, and we'll talk about each one. So aluminum, which is gonna be, let me fix this so you guys can see it. There we go. Aluminum right here. We're showing 2 parts per million. The national average is 4 parts per million. So we're coming in at 50% less than the average, which is great. And that's going to be pistons, because the pistons here are, I believe, cast or forged aluminum. There's some type of aluminum in these Cummins engines, so we're not wearing any pistons abnormally, it shows. Chromium is going to be your piston rings. We're showing 1 part per million, and the national average is 1 part per million. So we're right on board with that. Iron is showing 30 parts per million. 24 is the average, but we are going a longer oil change. So that was based on 8,500, I think they said, or 8,200 mile oil change. So again, The reason we highlighted that yellow because it was a little higher, but we are well within the range because we went longer than the oil change. The next three are going to be copper, lead, and tin. Those are all going to be bearing materials. We have no lead, no tin, which is great, and we had 1 part per million of copper, and we're allowed 4 for the average. Excellent. The moly is an additive. That's going to fluctuate with oil, so it's really not an indicator of anything wearing in your engine. We had 10 parts per million. It's average of 30, but again, fluctuates with oil. The next few here, nickel, manganese, silver, titanium, those are all going to be around 0, and then we have 3 parts per million here. We're showing 0. None of this is really used in engines anymore, in today's engines in the US, but again, we're showing 0, so we're good. Potassium levels could indicate coolant mixing in. We're showing 1 part per million. You're allowed 8 parts per million. So we have a coolant bypass on there. So maybe that's helping. We don't know, but it's way lower than the national average, which is excellent. Boron is an additive. We have 131 parts per million. The average is 79. So we are doing better than the average. Again, that's an additive with oil that will fluctuate. Silicon generally is going to be dirty air coming into the engine. We're allowed to have 6 parts per million. We have 9. Again, going off of the 8,200 mile range, we have 3 parts per million higher. That's not bad, and we are running an aftermarket filter and net, so it is to be expected. So negligible for the performance gain we're getting. Sodium would indicate coolant getting into the oil. Again, potassium and sodium. We're showing 3 parts per million. We're allowed to have 6, so that's good. It's about half. Calcium is an additive. It's going to fluctuate with oil. We got 2117, and the average is about 1785. So we got way more calcium in there. Again, it's an additive. Magnesium is an additive. 123 parts per million. The average is 456. So we are lower, but again, oil, it will fluctuate. It's not going to show anything. That's not showing that your engine is wearing or anything. Phosphorus is another additive. We have more than the national average of 1015, so that's good. Zinc is another additive. We have 1160, and the average is supposed to be 1179. So if you just look at these numbers here, for an engine with 171,000 miles, doing an 11,500 mile interval with super hard towing across the country, this is an excellent first oil analysis, especially with all the modifications that are on there. So once we compare it with another oil run, we'll be able to show if these modifications are really hurting the truck or not. But right now, everything's doing good, and running this truck hard shows no increased wear. So if we come down here, we're going to look at the viscosity. 72.9. It should be between 68 and 82. It's right in the middle. That's good. Again, with this second viscosity test, it's 13.71, right in the middle of 12.4 and 16.3. The flash point should be greater than 400 Fahrenheit. 440 was the flash point on this, so we're doing good. Fuel in the oil, ours was less than 0.5 parts per million, and you should have less than 2 parts per million. So we're doing phenomenal there. No antifreeze and no water detected in the oil. Insolubles was 0.1. You should have less than 0.6, so we're doing phenomenal there. And the TBN should be more than 1. That oil that neutralizes the acidic compounds during the combustion process. So 4.8 is way higher than 1.0. So this engine at 271 is wearing great, and they set it up here. So guys, right now, towing through the worst conditions and this extended oil change, we're showing good. So with all the modifications, we have no increased engine wear. We will update you guys in the future. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.